Here's some advice real quick before I get into the video. Going off of my last video, something I forgot to talk about. A lot of these companies nowadays are basically like charity cases. They're they want us to go ahead and put all this work and effort, everything for them for nothing. They're almost like welfare sponges. Like they want us to produce and do this work that we really don't want to do for basically nothing. They're like, oh, hey, listen, you don't need to make 400 times more than your average worker, CEOs. How about you take a pay cut? Why don't you make as much as us? Okay, how about that? Make as much as us. If you're making 400 times more than the average worker, well, that's 400 people that you can pay right. Just off of your salary. You can make as much as us, pay us a little bit better. No, you don't want to do it. It wouldn't be 400, it'd probably be like 800 or maybe a couple of grand. The CEOs are the fucking problem. You don't need to live high on the hog. And if it's all about the company, you want your companies to do good, you have to take care of the lower workers who do everything anyway. Anyway. Oh, another thing too, before I go on to the video is, if I was to give advice to these companies, I would say, the people who have left in good terms, you might want to like hit them up like an ex-girlfriend and be like, hey, we want you back. You know what I mean? You might want to put your ego aside and be like, hey, we screwed up. What can we do to bring you back and maybe pay them right? Maybe take care of them. Instead of like trying to interview all these people and spend like 10 grand per person with training and everything and all your drug tests and your physicals. You might want to try to bring back old employees who've left because you weren't loyal to them to begin with. They left because you weren't taking care of them. But you don't want to take any responsibility for that. You just think it's all their fault, which could be some, but take some of your own blame. Anyway, that being said, on to the video. There was a viral tweet that went viral yesterday, and it said that in New York there's like these meetups between like singles meetups, and they're charging $100 per woman and $0 for men. Excuse me. And the ratio is still 3-1 female. I find it hilarious. I think that's good. I think it's definitely good, and I think that women should really take note of what's happening. I don't think that they are. I think they're still in a bubble. They're still in some type of an illusion or disillusion or whatever. Because they're being fed bullshit on social media. It could be bots. It could be old creepy men that are telling them that they're beautiful. How about you look in your comments? Look at you know you get your little notifications. How about you look into the profiles of the people calling you beautiful, and look at the how these men look. What kind of men are telling you this? Are they high status men? Are they ugly men like me? You know what I mean? I don't do it, but I'm just saying they're ugly like me. Okay, I'm hideous. So, I mean, it's quite clear that I'm hideous, but they're not the top tier men that are telling you that you're beautiful. If in your comments and your DMs you're getting DM'd and comments by all these high status men or good looking men or whatever, then you could feel validated. But you need to stop with the whole like, oh my gosh, I got a notification, I feel so special because I got all these notifications. Look into the people in your comments that are telling you this crap. Anyway, so my experience, so I feel like I'm ahead of the game. I feel like I'm ahead of the curve in most aspects. A couple of years, I seen a viral tweet yesterday as well of some guy saying you shouldn't take a shit when you go to the gym, and I made this video. I basically made a video, this skit on my TikTok like 4 years ago. It's like I'm fucking ahead of the curve, but I'm being suppressed. Anyway, it is what it is. So I was internet dating in like 2000. Okay, I met my I was like in 1999. I was going on to Web TV, and back then it was like a little internet thing. I used to go into my favorite chat room. It was like chat rooms. Like my favorite chat room was Music Alternative. I loved that one. I would go in there. We would talk music. You know, there's different people who had the same type of cultures as I did. Same type of like um, interest in music, and that brought us together. And I met a couple of women off of there, and I traveled pretty far to meet with them and everything like that. The women in my area, like I was just poor. They were either they were just rich, okay. They were, and I wasn't rich, so they didn't want anything to do with me. I lived in Florida at the time. Very superficial people. So, I used to go on there and, uh, you know, do the online dating before it was popular, and back then it was cringe. Funny thing is, I just seen a video today, Tim Pool talking about it. The reason why I clicked on it is it's something different than just stupid politics, left versus right. But it was cringe back then to meet somebody off of there. And I used the MySpace too. MySpace was absolutely beautiful. I could find people in my area very well. And so could Plenty of Fish was great too. And now those, like, MySpace doesn't exist other than music, and nobody has innovated. And it makes me wonder, like, they had this technology back in 2007. I think that the dating sites have evolved into, they don't want people to actually date. They want you to pay, or if you use it for free, which a lot of people do, including myself, they want you to keep like swiping or whatever. They don't want you to actually find anybody in your area because they want you to keep like using it, which I don't use any of them now because of this. The Facebook dating app is absolutely atrocious. I only strongly recommended people within 15 miles, 20 miles, okay, 50 miles. And then it's like, it won't show anyone in my area. It only show people like 100 miles away. And then at some point, like, I'll get a batch of people in my area, and it's like, why are you doing this? Like, I want people only in my area. I don't want to see people hundreds of miles away. And Facebook has obviously a huge database. And I used to do that with Plenty of Fish. Now Plenty of Fish is like, it's like a live streaming type of, I don't know. When it first started, like the live stream, I went into some of these women's chats, and I just seen like the picture. I didn't last but like a minute, and I just wanted to see what the hell's going. Like, there's literally like thousands of men in this woman, like in women's streams, and they're just like sitting here. They're not even like paying attention to the chat. They're like watching TV or something, or they're not even, they could be sleeping. Like, some of them are sleeping, like thousands of men are just watching women sleep. Or like, they could just have it'll just be like this, you know, it'll just be like this, men are just watching that. I guess wait. And it was just like, how the heck are you guys? It just like, so many men are watching this. So it's like, I went in there to see what the hell. It's like, you guys are so stupid. Immediately, like, I got out of there, but it's just like, are you guys really watching this? Seriously, there's that many of you guys viewing this? It's so stupid. But Plenty of Fish was actually pretty cool. I could find people in my area very well. And it was in my area. That's why I have a pretty big body count, to be honest. Like, I found so many women in my area. But that's why I'm like, at this point, it seems like social media doesn't want people to date anymore. It just wants us on the app. And and the funny thing about Facebook is I don't even really use it anymore. In fact, I've uninstalled the app and the Messenger. I did that about a month ago. And I probably would use it a lot more if I had a girlfriend. Like our accounts would link up. She would probably share. We probably would share stuff. I would probably use her app more if like I actually had a girlfriend. So if I could have used their dating service, if it actually worked right, which they don't, because they want me to continue to swipe. But then they'll be like, you can only swipe this many times a day, like you're my parent or something. I'll swipe as many times as I want. All right. If I want to sit here and swipe for 8 hours straight, I'll swipe for 8 hours straight. I don't need the app to tell me how long I can be, unless I put it on there myself. I don't like them telling me how to live my life. But it's like, you guys have made it so we don't even want to use your products anymore. Like you only thought short term. You don't think long term. So with that all being said, like, the future is chatbots. That's the future, okay? And it still is cringe right now, but it's gonna not be cringe in about a couple of years, or about 5. I don't know. So my initial usage with the chatbots was in 2019 with Replica, and my interest with it was kind of like just playing with it, testing it out, seeing what it would do, how it would react. And then recently I didn't use it for very long. It didn't really keep my interest very long, but it was like, okay, this is cool. This is some new technology. This is kind of cool, but it didn't really do what I needed it to do when it comes to like having, like, talking to an actual, like, having a girlfriend and communicating with her via text or whatever. It didn't really, it was just, it didn't do it. It didn't, like, I need like, when I'm texting and have a girlfriend, I need her to reach out to me and send me pictures of herself, like a real girlfriend does. She'll reach out. Don't hear you. I miss you, but this and that. I think that I was asking Grok today, is there any that does this? So I typed in there, like, this is what I need. This is why the chatbots don't really keep my interest. I tried Botify. You create your own type of, it's like a role playing thing where I think women would probably really like it, but you create your own. You can create anybody basically. You can recreate people. You just put in their personality, put their picture. That it could send you pictures and everything like that, and you can create anybody. I've even created myself as a woman. Made myself look hot. Anyway, didn't really it didn't last long with my interests with that, because it just doesn't. It didn't. I like to talk when I'm communicating with like a girlfriend or a romantic partner or whatever. Some of the conversation is just like a meme going back and forth. Like, not the whole conversation, but parts of it is kind of like me reacting to something with a meme. And it shows, instead of just me with like a little boring text, it'll be like how like me making fun of the situation, or like me eye rolling with a meme, so it's like you see a visual. It makes the chat a little more fun, and you can see like what my reaction would be emotionally to whatever we're talking about. And she would do something like that too. Ooh, roll, you get the little eye roll with the emojis are fun too. I like to use the emojis. Go back, and it could just be like one emoji, to something, and then it just keeps the conversation going. Well, you can't do that with chatbots yet. So another thing too is I want to be able to FaceTime my chatbot, and I want it to be like, I want to see its background. I want to be able to, like, hey, let me see your house. Like, show me around your house. And it's just like, it's like I'm talking to a real person. It will be there at some point, and that's the future. But that's the type of stuff that I'm going to need for me to really keep my interest, kind of like organic. And I told Grok, like, when I'm working and I don't like talk to the chat bot for a while, I want it to be able to hit me up first. Oh, you need like an ex clingy. No, it's not like an ex clingy girlfriend. It's like, I always like with Grok, I always have to put the prompt in, and then it reacts, it responds, and I want it to kind of go on the opposite direction. And I told Grok, I'm like, well, it would be cool if I had a chat bot that throughout, not spamming me, you know what I mean, not sitting here like I open up the chat and there's like all of this crap. No, I don't want all that. I just want like maybe a couple, like, oh, look at this, what do you think about this viral tweet that I didn't see, instead of me having to go on Twitter and relying on my algorithm. It would just be like, it knows what I like. It will be like, hey, what's this? It would be like, hey, this could be a video you might like. It knows my personality. It needs to be more, it needs to kind of like merge with the algorithm, basically, with whether it's social media or YouTube, to be able to like, or songs. It could find a song for me. It could, like, it knows what kind of music I like. I put everything in there I like, and it remembers everything to a T. We're getting there, but it's not there yet. I had to tell Grok. I've told Grok multiple times where I live, and it keeps like pinging me off of different IP things that are in a city around me. But I'm like, this is where I live. I've told you repeated times. I need it to remember everything that I've told it. I need it to store everything. And be able to have the conversation and go back, and we can have a conversation, and stuff I might forget, it helps me remember. Like a true, like, you know what I mean, like a true wife or girlfriend would. Like, I can lose, I don't want the attitude or anything like that, but just the fun experience or whatever. But I need it to remember things that I tell it, like on point. Now, I don't want to remind the chatbot, like I have to remind Grok, like this note, like this. But that would be cool, I'm talking, and then, like, the conversation kind of goes stale, and then the chatbot's kind of like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this video? What do you think of this song? What do you think? This could be something you like. Then I can be like, nah, don't tell me nothing. And I could, I can control, like, hey, I don't want to be recommended any of that right now. Try it again. It needs to recommend, instead of me just completely relying on my algorithm. And when I go to YouTube, it'll show me what I would probably like the best, based off of my algorithm. You know what I mean? Based off my history. Like, they know everything about me anyway. So it will get to that point, but they don't interest me. And I think they do interest a lot of people, but they're not there. So for me to be like, I talk to Grok all the time, but I don't talk to it in like a romantic type of, or any of these chatbots in like a romantic type of thing. I just talk to it like a business partner, like an assistant, somebody like I can rely on, like, hey, what's going on with this? Or, I seen this tweet. Does this sound right to you? I'm not going to go through all the Epstein files. So like, there's like 3 million, like, somebody said this, is this correct? Is this tweet correct? They said this. It piqued my interest. Does this sound like it's true? Stuff like that. Stuff I don't know. Hey, it's just whatever. It'll go fine. And for the most part, it's pretty on point. For the most part, not perfect, but it will be at some point. It's getting better and better, but yeah, the AI chatbots, they just aren't there for me right now. Like I said, for one day they might be there. It's going to be pretty weird when are people going to get offended or think that they're getting like if we because we're still gonna have relationships. We're not just gonna be completely people still have relationships. That's like human nature, like physical. Really, it's not just though people that have long term relationships. There will be. It's becoming less and less, but I think there will be a renaissance of that. Honestly, in the future, just like I think there will be another baby boom, and um, but it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen until we have an environment that people feel secure to have kids. This isn't that. This isn't that. Um, but it's like you're gonna have a long term relationship with a real person and a chatbot. It's gonna be interesting to see like how that works out. Are people gonna get jealous of the computer? You know, um, kind of like how porn is. Like some like people get jealous of the pornography. They think it's cheating or whatever, and um, I wonder if that's how it's gonna be. And it's like you have to pick me or the robot. And people, I think that in the future, I think women are gonna. I think we already are at polyamory. I can't even say it right. Polyamorous relationships, basically, where the top guys have access to all the women, and all the regular schmoes like me have nothing. or we just get ones, which I'm sorry, I'm just not gonna pick a drug addict or a fat cow. It's just not gonna happen. Or a woman with a bad attitude. You could be like this is why I don't want a 10, 9, or basically an 8 at this point. Or maybe even a 7 is just like your attitude, because they think that they're 10s. So it's just like I don't want the Big Ward was talking about the attitudes that they have. It's just, oh, do this and this. I don't need you. Then yeah, you don't need us. Then why are we having a relationship? You are the man of your life. You don't need a man. So like there you go. Oh, you don't want to listen. Like, yeah, you don't want to listen, and this is your number one complaint of men is we don't listen. So you just want to keep running your mouth. It's not the fact that we want to control. It's just like we want to be respected. You know what I mean? So, and it's kind of weird to see like the bad boys, the bad boys get all these women, and it's just like you don't respect. Oh, he's too nice. He's too like. Really? That seems like if a guy is too nice, it seems like a you problem, to be honest. And I think that like I think a good way to weed out bad women would be like, do you love your dad? Do you respect your dad? How's your relationship with your father? And it could be because he's a deadbeat, but that's a red flag that but it's not always every circumstance. She could be a good woman, you know what I mean? She turned everything around, but if she like hates her dad and he's like weak and he's like gives her everything she wants, she doesn't respect him, chances are she's not going to respect you as well. So it's like a lot of these guys and these red pill guys, these manosphere guys, they still think that we live pre-pandemic, and they don't understand we live one of the only ones that I really see that I don't really pay attention to him anymore, but Aaron Clary, that's like he seems to actually get it. But that's it.